Hello and welcome to the 1875 Talk Show. First off, I want to apologise for my absence over the last few days. I've had some personal issues at home to deal with. Before we get started into this Radio Free Asia report, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Okay, RFA Radio Free Asia. English Football League reviewing files linked to Cambodian diplomat to soccer club. EFL is investigating Wang Yaohui's stake in Birmingham City that has been revealed by the RFA. Evidence linking Cambodian diplomat Wang Yaohui to Birmingham City Football Club is now in the possession of the English Football League, RFA has learned. This article was released about 15 hours ago. The EFL last month successfully applied to Singapore's Supreme Court to access records in a case brought against one of Wang's companies, according to sources familiar with the court's ruling, who asked not to be identified as they were not authorised to speak about it publicly. The application was made as a part of an ongoing investigation by the league into allegations that Wang secretly controls a substantial portion of Birmingham City's shares in a contravention of EFL regulations. One of the defendants in the Singapore court case is a company registered in a state, Gold Star Aviation Pte Limited. Corporate records show that Gold Star Aviation's sole shareholder is a British Virgin Islands company called Dragon Villa Limited, which also controls 12.81% of Birmingham City's shares. Among the court files obtained by the EFL is a sworn affidavit given by one of Wang's most trusted lieutenants, Jenny Xiao. I apologise for massacring these names. Who is also a defendant in the case and has enjoyed power of attorney over Wang's affairs for more than a decade. In the affidavit, which RFA has seen, Xiao states Gold Star's sole shareholder is Dragon Villa Limited and DVL is beneficially owned by Mr. Wang. As an EFL member playing in the league's highest division, Birmingham City is obligated to disclose the identity of any individual controlling more than 10% of its shares. While Dragon Villa features in the club's owner, Wang does not. The disclosure describes this Dragon Villa instead of being controlled by an individual named Li Shutong. Again, I apologise. Who is the director of a shareholder and multiple Wang-linked companies. The discrepancy between Xiao and Birmingham City's description of Dragon Villa's ownership could have serious repercussions for the club, including potential misconduct charges or point deductions. A club spokesman did not respond to the request for comment, but the RFA understands that Birmingham City's management is standing by its existing ownership disclosure. Oh, God. Birmingham City's assurances do not seem to have satisfied the league, which confirmed in a statement to RFA that its investigation is ongoing. As a result of an ongoing investigation into the ultimate beneficial ownership of Birmingham City Football Club, we are not in a position to comment, an EFL spokesman told RFA via email, commenting anonymously in line with league policies. The league launched its probe into Wang's ties in early June following the RFA investigation, which found Chinese-born Cambodian diplomat and advisor to Prime Minister Hun Sen controlled a large but undeclared stake in the club through a series of proxies and shell companies. This could only happen to us, couldn't it? It can only happen to bloody blows. Birmingham City is one of England's most storied soccer teams and currently competes in the nation's second highest tier, just below the elite Premier League. The EFL now holds the Singapore court files and may explain why the putative takeover of the club has stalled in recent weeks. That wouldn't surprise me. Long beset by financial troubles and with a stadium in need of serious repairs, many Birmingham City fans are hankering for new ownership. They may have thought their prayers have been answered when a bid submitted last month by former club director Paul Richardson and retired professional soccer player Maxi Lopez. Before any transaction of ownership can take place, a soccer club playing in the EFL 3 divisions, the league must approve the sale. In order to do so, it requires information from both the buyer and the seller about what the club's current ownership structure will be after the sale. Writing in The Athletic last week, soccer journalist Matt Slater reported the EFL's chief executive Trevor Birch as saying the league hadn't received enough information to even consider Richardson and Lopez's bid. While the EFL has not elaborated on exactly what information is yet to receive, Slater suggests the data deficit lies with the club's current owner. The Athletic understands that Richardson and Lopez have submitted as much as they can at this stage. He wrote, but the club and their current owners have not yet provided full answers to the league's standard set of takeover questions. That's just typical Blues, isn't it, really? Don't want to answer questions? Right, give them bullshit. The RFA analysis last month calculated that Wang and a close relative named Von Peck control more than half of Birmingham City's shares between them, while Vong's name does appear in the club's official ownership disclosure, as well as stock exchange filings by its Hong Kong listed parents. Wang's does not. Birmingham City owners are now in a bind. It appears EFL will not allow them to sell until they offer some more transparency about who exactly the owners are. But if they do, they risk sanctions from both the league and the authorities in Hong Kong. This is a terrible situation for us to be in. It is a terrible situation. Underneath there, you can see, I've actually opened this up slightly wider and I'll zoom in a bit for you. There's the current ownership structure of Birmingham City. This is a terrible situation to be in. I don't think this is a good situation to be in at all. I think the only plus of this is this might accelerate them selling the whole club instead of just selling bits and pieces. That's my opinion. But I think it's a bit hypocritical of the EFL to be so abstinent towards us, considering people like Dan Ivory, Almagier, has been telling them for 11 years now. I think it's been, maybe wrong on that time scale, don't take that as gospel, but I think it's been a while that Wang Yaohui has owned a stake in Blues and the EFL have done, what have they done? Oh, jack shit. Yeah, they've done jack shit. I think this could end. I think in the short term this is going to be disastrous for the Blues, but in the long term this might be good. This also does explain why the bid from Richardson and Lopez seems to have stalled. It's atypical Blues that we know under this ownership. They're not going to give the answers they need because they know for a fact if they give the answers they need, they're going to be screwed. Totally screwed. I think this again, as I say, I think this is going to be short term poo. It's going to be bad. Long term, I think this might help Blues sell all of the club instead of just parceling it out bit by bit. I also wanted to give a little bit of information about who RFA, Radio Free Asia, are. Radio Free Asia's mission is to provide accurate and timely news and information to Asian countries whose government prohibit access to a free press. It's not exactly a secret that some of Asian countries don't like the idea of free press, even though that's ironic considering the country we live in. But never mind that. RFA is funded through an annual grant by the United States Agency for Global Media and independent US agencies. RFA has a legislative firewall that bars interference by US government officials in the execution of RFA's mission to provide reliable journalism to audiences otherwise deprived of uncensored, accurate press. So they have no stake in this. They have no axe to grind. And one thing people have got to understand is this whole situation with RFA, this isn't a Birmingham City situation. This is a Wang Yaohui situation. Blues, unfortunately, are just along for the ride. And that's what a lot of people have got to understand. And I don't get me wrong, I understand where people are coming from because, again, I'm a Birmingham City fan just like yourself. It's hard to see how this situation pertains to anything else, but this is a much larger situation. From everything that I've read, this is a much larger situation. This involves governments in different countries, not just businesses. Unfortunately, Birmingham City is just a small cog in that large machine, and it's going to take time. I agree with what Dan Ivory has said in the past, that the takeover will not be done this season. I doubt it will be done this season. The more the Blues drag it out, and the more the current ownership of the Blues do not answer questions, the more the EFL are going to drag this out. and the more they are going to, because the EFL, there's blood in the water and they can smell it now. But, and this is where I'm going to disagree with some of the other fans that have said things. The EFL are complicit in this. They've been warned. Excuse me. They've been warned multiple times about Wang Yaohui. So, for them to come after us right now, they've got to be very careful. Because, well, let's face it, as I've said, they are complicit. They are very complicit in what has happened. I think this situation for the Blues is going to be one where, excuse me, where in the short term it's going to be horrible. In the long term, I hope and I pray that this brings about change. If you would like more information about Mr. King and the ownership structure of Birmingham City, I advise you go over to have a look at almagier.net, which I will link in the description, as well as this RFA article if anyone wants to reread it. But there is also a YouTube channel called Fat Lads Going Goal, and they do a meeting with the mayor series where Dan Ivory, the man behind Almagier, talks and answers questions that people put through on social media. I really recommend listening through them because it answers a lot of questions and it gives a lot more context to the situation at Birmingham City. But that's my thoughts on it, guys. What do you think? Is this the end for the Blues, or are we going to carry on? Are we going to slinker on like we always do? Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and please remember, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.